Hello, everybody, and welcome to our very first episode of the Silver and Gold podcast. I'm Dylan. Here's my friend TJ,
Yeah.
and we just want to introduce ourselves just because we just started out and we're okay. Stop. All right, getting back onto the topics. My name is Dylan. I'm a very huge Raiders fan, very loyal. Been through it basically all my life.
Good loyal.
Yeah, like you said. All right, introduce yourself.
No. Steelers fan. Yeah, that's about it for me. At least that's all you're gonna know here.
All right, here on today's show, we're going to be talking about the Jonathan Taylor trade request and the possibilities of where he could land. And we are also going to talk about the Burrow and Jalen Ramsey injuries.
My leg. All right, let's
As
go.
you see, we got some comedy here. Now, Jonathan Taylor. What do you think about him going up against Jim Irsay and going up against the trade?
Well, I know that one. Before we discuss this any further, I want to say that all whale lives matter. All right, so no one should give Jim Irsay any business for wanting to help a whale before he signs his franchise running back, because that is totally a reasonable thing to do as an NFL owner. Back onto it, Jim Irsay's an idiot, and I'm pretty sure Jonathan Taylor is not going to be on the team. For you fantasy nerds out there, including myself, I wouldn't draft Jonathan Taylor too highly, and I would not put Jonathan Taylor in early. I would let him fall a bit and get someone who's going to be more consistent early on, rather than Jonathan Taylor, who's start of the season completely up in the air.
Yes. Like I said, like you said, I completely agree with what you said. But yeah, like he said, all whale lives matter. So yeah, let's talk about the trade destinations and what you could expect to get value from Jonathan Taylor.
I think he should go to Baltimore. Maybe Baltimore. But I do think my favorite would be Baltimore over Baltimore.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty clear that.
That's just a dog dance.
I'm sorry about that. My friend's dog is
Sure.
funny. Yeah, she can be in the.
Got our third member of the podcast. Get your ass out of
I'm sorry about that guy.
Right. Continuing onwards. But to put on emphasis on what I was saying, I think Jonathan Taylor in Baltimore could be huge. With that run blocking unit and Lamar Jackson taking attention away, that would be perfect. And if any team is going to pay a running back way too much money, better be Baltimore. A team that's going to run the ball really well, and use Jonathan Taylor. I think that's a pretty useful addition. As for what kind of trade package you can look for in return, you could see J.K. Dobbins and a second-round pick for Jonathan Taylor. You're not going to get much of a better package. You get a replacement and a draft pick, maybe more like a third-round pick, because running backs, they're too easy to replace, and if Baltimore gets him, they have to pay him. So any team that's going to want Jonathan Taylor has to pay them. So they're not going to give you significant draft compensation and then pay Jonathan Taylor, and then 5 minutes later he becomes Le'Veon Bell, and they're like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah, because as we can see from history, holding out for running backs doesn't really end well, since...
I am a fan of running backs. Running back money matters.
Okay.
Najee Harris was not overdrafted.
Like you said, I actually don't really agree with the trade value. I could basically see a fourth round pick.
That makes sense. That's why I put Dobbins in, because Dobbins is a bit of an injury risk, but he's probably the best player you can expect to get back for a package that involves Jonathan Taylor or any running back. I think Dobbins could be very useful.
TJ. The Colts just did sign Kenyon Drake earlier this week. Could he be possibly a replacement for all the Colts fans out there?
If they want to bash their head through a wall during the middle of the season, yes. If they enjoy sanity, no.
I mean, I see what you get there. But yeah, let's now move on to the Burrow injury. Now, Burrow went down earlier in training camp with a lower calf injury, but he's expected to be in for the first part of the regular season. What do you take on this?
Well, for the most part, he's going to be fine. I don't think there's going to be an issue for him at all. I think he's going to play. I think he's going to be elite. And if this takes anything away from his season, I would probably have a better chance of winning the lottery than that happening.
I mean, yeah, I get what you're coming there, but I would say that they would obviously have the backups for Burrow in case the worst of the worst happens. Backups.
Yeah, that'll work.
But I do believe that he will be there for the regular season for the Bengals.
Yeah, probably.
Now, let's move on to the Jalen Ramsey torn meniscus injury.
Now
that is a tougher talk of the talk.
Here's my thoughts on the Dolphins. On the Dolphins as a whole and on Jalen Ramsey. When they got Jalen Ramsey for a box of peanuts and a tight end no one's ever heard of, I thought that was grade A trading, and that is incredible value for them. I understand why the Rams moved off Ramsey. They suck, and they couldn't afford to keep him around anymore. So I don't disagree with them moving off of him. They should have gotten more for him, but I don't disagree with moving off of him. Ramsey was very much a piece I think they needed to add to that defense, add that element, add that run defense from the secondary, a little more coverage, a little more speed. The issue is this. That defense, since his name was not Bill, was it?
No.
Brian Flores. I'm sorry, Flores. I'm sorry. Anyways, you won't watch this. Brian Flores, since he left, the defense that has some good talent has been kind of mid at best. And that's not good. Ramsey was a superstar to provide that kick of energy, and him being injured, he's just another blow to Miami. And we've got no certainties on Tua. Love Tua. But we've got no certainty on whether or not he is going to be able to play a whole season. And now they've got their defensive leader's gone and their offensive leader has questions. I don't like the Dolphins' outlook, especially in that AFC.
Yeah, the AFC is just brutal, and as from a Raiders and Steelers fan knows, this conference is terrible.
Steelers winning the Super Bowl!
Okay, stop. But in response to that, wait. I'm getting word now that the Dolphins just signed a piece of burnt toast to replace Jalen Ramsey.
Man, burnt toast. He's one of my favorite players, you know. He talks smack, he gets smacked, he talks more smack, he gets smacked. It's a smack fest. Smack, 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 smack. Who doesn't like a good smack down?
Yeah. I don't like the move.
Sure.
There's obviously better pieces that you could. Sorry, guys.
No, don't be sorry. I called her over.
Little doggo. Bro, don't get PETA called on us. But yeah, like you said, I don't really like Eli Apple. Just because
Apple sucks.
It's just there's better replacements out there.
Eli
and
Apple
you went
trash.
after Eli Apple.
right.
Now, here to end the show, we're going to talk about both the Steelers and Raiders and what the season predictions are for them. So I'm going to let you go ahead and start.
Okay. So, Pittsburgh. So I think first what should be discussed is the floor. I think any team's true ceiling, it's any given Sunday for a reason, and we saw with the Vikings. Any team can pull 13-4 out of their ass, even if there should be no way they can. So I don't like talking about ceiling. I do like talking about floor, because Pittsburgh has a relatively easy schedule. Now, last 2 games of the season are the Seahawks and the Ravens in Baltimore. We're not winning those 2 games, and week 1 we play San Francisco. So there are 3 losses already. If you count that we lose both away games to Cleveland and Cincinnati, you're looking at about 5 losses. Those are guaranteed L's. That division is tough, even though I don't think Cleveland, with Deshaun Rapist Watson, will be able to win anything. Granted, I like the team that Cleveland has. I don't like their chances of winning the AFC. Point is, Pittsburgh is going to have 5 losses guaranteed. And the rest of the season is ridiculously easy. We play both the Cardinals and the Rams, because we play the entire NFC West. So those are 2 easy wins. And we've got our home games against the division. Pittsburgh ain't giving up that shit on our own grounds. Overall, I think Pittsburgh minimum 9-8 to 10-7. That is our floor. 1, we have Mike Tomlin, who does not fucking have losing seasons. Losing seasons? What the fuck is that, bruh? Nah, we ain't have no losing seasons. And I think our schedule is too easy. Honestly, I think that Pittsburgh goes 11-6 and is the 7th seed of the AFC. Yes, you heard me right. I said 11 wins and the 7th fucking seed. The AFC is hell. What do you think about your team?
Oh, well, I want to both discuss floor and ceiling. Floor, to be honest, I'd say we go 3-14, 4-13. Because Josh McDouchebag he isn't good, okay? But the reason is, if all the games ended at halftime last season, we would be 11-5-1.
That's true. That is true.
It's our defense. Our defense just, we can't play the second half.
Defense? What defense?
But with Jimmy G's uncertainty of basically guaranteed to go down, and hell, you ain't putting Brian Hoyer as your starter. You would. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, you ain't putting Brian Hoyer as your starter if Jimmy G does go down. I would think you put Aiden O'Connell over Brian Hoyer, because Brian Hoyer, he's the guy. He's kind of like Brandon Bolden. He's there to teach the running backs and the quarterbacks the system.
You mean he's the veteran to teach the younger guys the system, if you want to compare the two?
Yes. Thanks for the correction. But ceiling, I would say we go 10-7. 10-7. If Jimmy G stays healthy and the defense doesn't give out, 10-7. My guaranteed here, Raider Nation, I got your back. Now,
what about your official prediction?
My official prediction, I say we go 7-10, 8-9.
I think more like 6-11. Their schedule's not easy. One, you have your division, which good luck winning any of those games. And well, yeah, that's about it. That's a really hard-ass division, and I don't remember what the NFC division you guys play is.
It's the North.
The NFC North. Ooh, that's not bad. Packers aren't that good. The Bears are up and coming. I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Yes.
It's not the easiest schedule, not the easiest team. He has a point about that fucking win record, though.
Yeah,
This shit's nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy if you actually think about it. Shut the hell up. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in to our very first episode of the Silver and Gold podcast. Once again, I'm Dylan. He's DJ. Signing off.
So I get.